All right, we're back. Another
Sorry
episode
for the
of
delay,
Let 'em
Sean.
Run. Wait, Fred, both of us have been a little bit under the weather this week. Uh,
Northeast weather, it'll get you.
I'm not kidding right now. Uh,
But here we are,
big
ready to go.
big weekend. Obviously, Super Bowl tomorrow. But today, ahead of the snow and everything, there's going to be snow up here. There's not going to be snow down in Florida. So at either Gulfstream or Tampa Bay. So
No,
we're
firm,
gonna.
fast, sunny, warm, someplace where we need to be, Sean.
Yeah, you're not
Especially,
kidding.
especially you.
Yeah, you're not kidding right now. Remember just to like, subscribe, uh, ring the bell, so we could, we could answer your questions and stuff like that. Here's the link to the stories. The story that is up right now. Uh, Let them run picks Gulfstream Part 2825. So I'll leave that up for a little bit. Um, you can find us pretty soon. We'll be all over the place: Apple, Amazon, Spreaker, whatever that is, Spotify, iHeartRadio. So,
And there's
and
a
if you,
big day down in Tampa Bay, too. As you know, there's not many, I'm sure there's only one Derby prep race in the whole country today, and that's at Tampa Bay. And we have noted that in our picks on our Let 'em Run analysis that you referred to, Sean. We'll cover that race a little bit at the end, but we can dive right in right now to the races that are running right now currently, will be running, I should say, at Gulfstream Park this afternoon. The first race would be race 8, which is the beginning of the Pick 5. And as I previously stated, Sean, we both thought this was a great idea. I did already post the Pick 5 that we will be playing. And if we are fortunate enough to hit, which would be awesome for many reasons, one of the better reasons would be we're going to donate 10% of the winnings to the Permanently Disabled Jockey Fund, which certainly is a worthwhile fund to support those athletes, jockeys who have been permanently injured and are now living their life in a wheelchair, but they give them plenty of opportunities to do great things. So I hope we do get a chance to do that. And I feel pretty good about that right now.
here's the picks, and we can show them the pick here. Here's our late pick 5. Head over to uh, at let_m_run, let them run for our late pick 5. Obviously, here's the link to what we're on right now. I'm not going to click
Okay.
that because we'll get in this endless loop of thing, and it'll be this thing where you look into the mirror and to yourself and the thing, and it's like this endless loop that never ends. So but anyway, here it is right there. So if you head over to let them run Twitter or X, and it'll show you what those are. So
Thank you,
uh,
Sean. That's awesome. Great.
look,
And I think when I posted on X, I think I said the pick 5 was $72. Actually, only $36 for that pick 5, and it hinges on a single in the second leg of the pick 5. We'll get to that race momentarily. Race 8 is a maiden special weight. Very always tough to pick. We did go a little bit deep, went four horses in. There was just a couple scratches, 3 scratches, two in the or one in two in the body, one in the also eligibles. One horse in there that was very interesting, and it's certainly a horse that many people are looking towards, is the 5-horse Crudo by Justified, trained by Todd Pletcher, ridden by Johnny Velasquez, and Johnny V knows how to take a new horse and make him run well. It's a 6-furlong race on dirt. That horse stands obviously a very big chance to take him all the way first out. It's got some good, consistent workouts. Again, the connections are great. I also used 3 other horses, the 1, 10, and the 11. I was happy to at least see one scratch for the 11 because he is on the outside post. He's now in the 10 post. 8-1 morning line being ridden by Zayas. Kind of an unknown trainer, or I shouldn't say unknown, underrated. She's known certainly in Tampa. Mary Leitner, great trainer down there, has got this horse running very well first out, last time out with Zayas on him. Stretching out now from 5 furlongs on turf to 6 furlongs on dirt, but already showed he can run on dirt. ran a nice 35 and a quarter second not a bullet workout, but a workout on January 18th. So I like that horse probably on top, quite frankly, at 8-1. If he can get out and get a good run, and with that one scratch, that gets him a little bit closer, Sean. I also use the 10 XY Prime, certainly a horse that demonstrates some potential out of Vekoma, who is a 20% first time sire. Horses that will win first out, shows a lot of propensity for that, and working out extremely well. Jorge Delgado, great trainer with firsters, wins at 20% first time starts, 29% in maiden special weights, which typically are a little bit higher level of the races. So we can get out of that leg, Sean, that would be good.
And I see you playing a 1-5, 10-11 superfecta in that right there, huh?
I threw that in there too because, as we talked, I want to try and give some options for. I can't tell you how many times when I played pick fives, I'll have four horses in the leg, whether it's the first leg or fourth leg, whatever leg it is. I end up hitting the leg, and I also had all four horses.
And you so you might as well have the super as well, right?
Well, again, if you get some of these odds horses in there, I mean, I kind of think, the reason I also like the opportunity to do a superfecta in this race, because the morning line was 4-1 on the favorite, and it's the first time starter. Again, the top board would tell all in this race, meaning if that 4-1 horse being ridden by Johnny Velasquez and trained by Todd Pletcher, his morning line is 4-1, I don't think it's going to stay 4-1. He'll probably end up being 2-1. It's a big field. There's other horses that people are going to like, but they may gravitate to that horse because, again, the connections make a big difference. It costs $350,000. So obviously people saw a lot when he started. But, yeah, I think it's a nice way to kind of get another chance to, bet a superfecta and see what happens.
Go to race 9. It's dirt 6 furlongs. Obviously sprint, we talked, at length last week about, these the 7 furlong races, how it's in the middle. The 6 furlong is just a dead sprint at this point, right?
Pure sprint. Definitely a sprint. I mean, they'll call 6.5 furlongs an elongated sprint, but this is a pure sprint for sure. And there were 2 scratches in this race. There were only 7 horses in the body of the field. And right now, with 2 horses scratched, the 2 and the 3 horse, which were the 2 was 20-1, 6-1. And neither one of them, the 2 maybe had a little bit of early speed, but with those 2 horses scratching, I think the morning line was already 8-5. Saez is jumping on him. He's number 1 prime power. It's being trained by Christophe Clement. He's already shown a buyer speed figures in the last 3 races. Last 4 or 5 races, actually, that are higher than the buyer par to win this race at 6 furlongs at this optional claiming 20. So I singled him. I singled him in our pick 5. If we get out of that first leg, I feel pretty strongly about this horse. I mean, I was hoping he would stay at 8-5 or 9-5, which is why I also included a $50 win bet on him and a $10 exacta with the 1 over the 4-7. I think the 4 Raging Fury has a pretty good shot. 4 races back at Gulfstream, he ran 7 furlongs, but put up some serious fractions to win by 8 in a field where there were 7 horses. Put up a 22-second quarter, a 40-second half. So he's got some speed for sure. I just think the 1 horse is a little better. And again, with Saez on that horse, when those gates open, he's gonna jump on the gas and push him out. So that's why I singled him. And with those other 2 horses scratching, I think it leaves that horse even more so to like, Sean.
And I see, in your story, you're playing a $50 win bet on 1 as well, and then the 1 with the other horses that are in the race at this point, correct?
Well, that's I think they're the most likely to win. A lot of people like the 6. Roar Ready being trained by Ruben Sierra. Ran a nice race last out at 7 furlongs. Don't think he has quite the speed to really keep up with the 1. I like the 4 and the 7 better to get second place. So I think the 1 could win, in my opinion, based on the speed, based on his previous races, could win by open lengths. And if we get past that, then we got some other races that we'd like to look at, Sean.
It's race 10 here, and then if the 6 furlong is a sprint, what is the 5 furlong on turf?
I made this term up. We'll call that an ultra sprint, or how about a mega sprint?
A mega sprint. Hey, listen, and this is a 5 furlong ladies turf sprint, $140,000 race.
Big race.
This is a big race here,
and there's some quality horses in this race, Sean. You're 100% right. It's probably the biggest race on the card, quite frankly. My favorite horse again in this race, I went 3 deep. I went with the 7, 8, 9 in our pick 5, Sean. And I think again we had a horse here that possibly I was considering singling, but I liked singling the 1 in race 9 more than the 7 in this race. Again, Saez is on another horse that has demonstrated in his last race the ability to close at 5 furlongs, which is extremely exceptional when you see that happening. A horse closing from 7, covering 4 lengths back to win by 1.5. And Alvarado was on for that ride. Saez was on it for the previous 3. He's going for 5 in a row, Sean.
That's a pretty big stat right there. 5 in a row. And I know you say there's another speed horse in this race, Opponent's Hope, but when you see 0 for 11 at Gulfstream Park in stakes races, that's probably got to be a little bit of a warning light for you, right?
It was a little red flag for me. I mean, certainly every place that knows how to train horses, the horses won twice at Gulfstream, just not in this kind of a race. I think he's a little bit going into a race that's above his level. If you look in his past experiences when he went into stakes races, after he broke his maiden at Gulfstream Park, it was in the slop. He went into 3 stakes races in a row and really did not finish very strong in those races. Last race out, we ran a very good race in an obstacle claiming 62 with Joel Rosario on him. Won that race, impressively, and put up a nice buyer speed figure. But again, I just think he's a little outclassed here by the 7. So that's how I look at that race. I think the 9 has a chance for sure. He's in a great post, outside post in a 5 furlong race can come in handy. You can see the horses in front of them, kind of how they're going to unfold. He's got Gutierrez on him. Riella Gutierrez is a good jockey, and 30% when he's with Orsino, again, who's a good trainer of horses. So I like that horse possibly to sit and watch it from the outside and stay up with the horses that are there in the lead. He's not likely to be in the lead. I don't think he's ever shown a propensity to be in the lead out of the gates. He is shortening up to 5 furlongs. So he did win at 5 furlongs on the turf back in April 24 with Paco Lopez aboard. So I think he's got a chance. That's why I spread out a little bit in this race. I think there's more chances for other horses to come out and perhaps give the 7 a little shot between the 8 and the 9. So we'll see what happens. A little different scenario than the race where I did single the 1 in the second leg, Sean.
And when you're looking at these 5 furlong races, I mean, it's just, is there anything you're looking at other than speed? Like, I mean, it's just all speed in these races, great.
Oh, no. I mean, certainly if you see a horse that has demonstrated speed and consistently it gets out of the gate, because in 5 furlongs, if you stumble out or you just don't get a good jump out of the gate, that's going to put you behind the 8 ball big time. Sometimes a horse can show a different perspective of his running style and perhaps close into, a short 5 furlong race. The other thing I look for is jockeys who know how to ride a horse in 5 furlongs. There's some stats on Brisnet that show which jockeys do well in route races, which jockeys do well in sprints, which jockeys do well on early pace race setters, stakes, stalkers. They give you stats to look at. So there is more to look at than just speed, for sure. But don't get me wrong, Sean. As speed helps in a lot of sports, and then horse racing is another sport where speed can help. Race
11, another 5
Yeah,
what is Tapeta?
it's a synthetic track. Several years ago, a lot of the race courses across the country began to experiment. I think Santa Anita in California was the first because there were some difficulties they were seeing with the way the horses were running on dirt, and they were looking for ways to perhaps soften the blow on the horses' joints, et cetera, with some of the fatalities they were seeing. So they went to this Tapeta and Gulfstream, I believe. They call it synthetic in other uh,
Yeah.
race courses, Sean. But I think Gulfstream was the first race course in the country that used what was called Tapeta. It's synthetic called Tapeta. Yeah.
So 5 furlong race, and I noticed looking at this, looking apropos here, I see another Lookout that we've talked about.
Yeah.
Talk about your Lookout rate horse here.
Well, Johnny V on a horse for Victor Barboza, who again has another horse in here, the 7 horse, but that horse is 15-1. That horse hasn't won in a long time. Putting Johnny V on a horse, again, a jockey who knows how to get a horse out of the gate. This horse has won the last time that he was here at 5 furlongs on Tapeta in April, middle of April in 2024. He's working out well to prepare for this. Victor Barboza wins in allowance races. I think he's got a good post. There's going to be some other horses that'll probably give him a chance to, run into them. He has tactical speed. By that we mean he can get out of the gate and doesn't have to run to the front. He can step up and be up with the front runners, which in this race, likely to be the 5, very much so. Definitely likely to be the 1 with Saez on him. As I mentioned, I think Saez on the 1 probably is going to have a chance to, again, step on the gas from the rail, because that could be important in a 5 furlong race. But I think he's going to have other company with him right to his outside. The number 2 horse got some speed. The number 4 horse has some speed. So, that's where I think Johnny V on his horse is going to play it out that way. He'll let those horses, I think, get out. He'll stay with him, and I look to see him to make a big run at the end. And that's why I put the Lookout next to him. But we also used a couple other horses in that race as well, and actually one other horse in that race, and that's the 1 horse, as I mentioned before, Saez. He's been riding lights out at Gulfstream Park, Sean, and I think he might have a shot to take that horse. And if there's any horse that might wire the field from the rail with Saez, that's why I included that horse in pick 5 as well, Sean.
I see there's also a little bit of a long shot play in this race. 15-1 Sarah Mia. We haven't talked too much about this so far, in these things. I know sometimes when we be at the track, you'll see these horses that are like, 62-1 or 50-1 or 30-1 or something like that, and you'll say, you know what, I think this horse has a chance to finish 3rd or something like, maybe get there or something like this, or it's gonna get out and maybe just hang on or something like this. At what point, you see a 15-1 horse here. I mean, what kind of a play would you play on that horse if you're looking, or maybe a little bit of a longer shot?
You're talking about which horse here, Sean?
Sarah Mia. On a little bit of a long shot play.
Absolutely. The 7 horse, yeah, of course.
Yeah, 7.
Again, another Victor Barboza horse, as I mentioned, he hasn't run very well lately. He's been really off his form, but he's dropping in class. Castellano is jumping on probably, the best jockey that's been on him in the last 7 or 8 races that he's been on. Again, dropping down in class from allowance races, optional claiming 80. Optional, so he's off form a little bit. I certainly like the fact that Castellano's getting on him, and I just think, 2 horses in the Barboza barn going out there. A lot of times they'll tell you, look at the long shot. If there's 2 horses from a barn, I don't follow that that thought process too often, and I'm not really following it for that reason here. I'm just looking at a horse at a long shot, 15-1. I'm pretty sure when the race goes off, he's going to be way more than 15-1. So he may be a horse that you play for a show, or you use him in the bottom of some of your trifecta bets if you're looking to get a big number in there. I know some people who love playing show bets, and they'll put somebody on a show bet. So it'll be interesting to see. I like him as a long shot in that race. Might pick up some pieces for a share, as we mentioned.
And in the final race of the pick 5 here, race 12 goes off at 5:48. It's a turf 1 mile race. It's obviously not as big a money race as some of the ones we've talked about, the last few weeks here to end it, but still, a decent optional claiming $35,000 race here.
Absolutely, it's a big field. It's a mile on turf. When I looked at this race, I said it was. I put wide open. You could probably make a case for a lot of horses in this race at this level. You got your good jockeys, your good trainers, some horses that are in good form. Many horses that are in good form. There's 4 or 5 or 6 horses that won last time out, so they're in good form. And I fell, when I looked at this race, I fell to the number 12 horse. I know he's got a tough post. Again, Saez can never go against him very often. He's got a tough post from out there, but he'll have enough time to get the horse into a position where he can save some ground and then close like he did in the race before. The 2 races back, I should say. The race before he was way overclassed. He broke out and bumped. If you watch the replay, it was a bad start, but he was in a very high level stakes race, 100,000 race at Gulfstream Park. Perez was on him, who certainly is a quality jockey, but now he's switching over to Saez, which is a big change. And I think that horse getting Lasix for the first time, which many 3-year-olds, once they're 3 years old, they can finally get Lasix. And that's why you see a lot of L's when you look at the past performances, Sean, indicated that's the first time Lasix, which again, is because they can't get Lasix until they're 3 years old.
And I see with a wide open field here, another thing, reading on, let me just put this up here so people can look again. Remember, here it is. Let them run picks Gulfstream. Today's story. You have a $4 exacta box here with 4 horses for a total of $48 in a wide open field like this. It's probably decent to take a shot here and see, if you could pick up some extra money on the exacta as well, right?
Sure. I think, again, when the field is wide open and then you've got prices all over the place, I mean, your morning line favorite in this race is the 10, and his morning line is 4-1. So there's nobody who the odds maker in this race looks at and sees as an outstanding favorite in terms of what I can see. So that is an opportunity, like I say, one of our good friends, Tommy Dolan, uses the word value. He likes doing exacta boxes where he'll bet a $20 exacta box very often, and he always uses the term, as his nickname implies, add a zero, because you'll add a zero to the end of that pick 4 if you hit. So there's prices in this pick 4. Again, the 4 horse Big Boy Jack at 12-1 is a horse that I would really take a good look at. Jaramillo's on him. When we talked about jockeys who are speed jockeys, he's one of the best. And he ran him to victory last time out on synthetic Tapeta at Gulfstream Park, but he also ran well a couple back on turf. And so he just broke his maiden the first time out. And oftentimes when a horse kind of finally wins, oftentimes they'll say maybe the light bulb went on this horse, like he just finally decided how to win. And when Antonio Sano is putting Jaramillo on, they win quite a bit, Sean, 40%. I mean, it's not a real super small sample, 15 times to win 40% is pretty good.
And so that's the end of the pick 5 there.
Yeah.
So with that, we turn our attention over to the west side of Florida and Tampa Bay Downs. And there's a big Derby prep race at 5:14, so it's going off a little bit. It's just about before the post for race 11 here.
Right.
Dirt
514. Yep.
5:14 dirt 1 and 1/16. The Sam F. Davis $250,000 race, and as you're talking about, this race is absolutely loaded with speed and talented horses.
Yeah, the only speed that's missing from this race to make it complete would be Usain Bolt. Then this would be a race truly loaded with speed, because there is speed all over the place. One of the things I love to look at, and it's done me well, is the U.S. time form early pace figure. You have a 129, a 122, a 122, a 107, a 119, a 106. I mean, there's speed everywhere. And these jockeys, they look at this. And maybe a jockey might not want a horse to get out as fast as they think, but these horses love to get out. And because of that, I fell on the 2-horse and Treaty of Rome. So I've been reading some other articles in the Daily Racing Form and trying to get some insight into what other people think. Treaty of Rome is getting a lot of love from a lot of the people because of that reason. I am very certain that his morning line will not be 6-1 when the gates open at 5:14. You have one of the I shouldn't say up and coming. That's wrong. He's escalating above some of the jockeys we all know. Irad Ortiz, Jose Ortiz, Flavia Pratt, all tremendous jockeys and running in this race. But Dylan Davis is beginning to continue to make his mark as one of the best jockeys in the column.
Sorry, there, the page just blanked out there. Yeah, it's. I think for people looking at some of these Derby races now, and once again, we're it's February 8th. Derby's still 3 months away.
Sure. Yeah.
Have you started to see any type of patterns developing with some of the? There hasn't been too many, I guess, maybe 3 or 4 big races so far. Have you seen any patterns starting to develop with these winners?
It's hard to say. Yeah, it's hard to say just yet. I mean, even the horses that won or came in second or third in one of the Derby prep races has a chance to get in based on the point system. And they have further development. You listen to these trainers talk. If you have an opportunity to hear them on certain outlets where they will be interviewed, they'll talk about how a horse came out of the race. Citizen Bull came out looking great. Some of the other horses came out, they're not sure where they're going to go. So 3 months away is a long time for these horses who look good to continue to look good, or the horses who did not quite make an impression and thought to get better. The bigger races are still yet to come. The Florida Derby certainly is a huge race that many horses come out of that, and that's going to be coming up. So there's plenty of races left. The Remsen, where these races have 50 and 60 Derby points. So it's almost like a win and you're in scenario, much like you see, Sean, with the Breeders' Cup, right? As we approach the Breeders' Cup in November, 3 months, 4 months before that, 3 months before, maybe there'll be what they call winning in. You win, you're in the Breeders' Cup. Well, at this stage, when some of these, after today, I believe today's the first place finisher might get 20 points. I'm not 100% sure. But after that, the races 20, that are coming 20, up.
Yeah, 20
first.
Yeah.
For first, correct.
2010.
Okay, yep. The first place is going to be 50, 60 points. Again, essentially a win and you're in, as long as your horse comes out healthy and ready to run. So, again, Treaty of Rome is my pick. Chad
Uncle
Brown.
Mo. Uncle Mo. We got to get Krasicki on.
I did not point that out, but that's a great point. Uncle Mo, one of the greatest sires in terms of producing winners, and also one of the greatest sires who I think he scratched out of the Derby, correct?
Yes, for people that don't know, Steve Krasicki bet that horse. This horse, it's actually going to roll into what I wanted to talk about. This horse can't lose. It's the greatest horse of all time. I'm betting him in the futures 5 months out. Horse scratched. This is why it's hard to bet Kentucky Derby futures in January, because anything can happen. Basically, one of the things I was going to say is, I know there's people that have already talking about this horse can't lose in the Derby and stuff like that. Anybody that's kind of talking about that before they see how these next 2 months plays out, you got to take it with a grain of salt here. I mean, all kinds of stuff is going to happen in the next 2 months leading up to the Derby. And, you can't, I think you got to kind of let stuff play out before you could even start to formulate your opinions, right?
Absolutely. I mean, look at last year, the horses that did well in the Derby. I mean, besides the Japan horses who came over Forever Young, that's what makes it exciting. You don't know. It's been a long time since there's been a Derby horse that went in that just absolutely was going to annihilate the field and did do that. And I think that's just the combination of the new system for getting horses in, the quality of the horses that come in. There's so many good horses. And again, it's a 20-horse field. Obviously, as we get closer, there'll be more to look at as the horses get in. I mean, I certainly have my favorite that I'm leaning towards a little bit now, Sandman, who many people are liking. The horse almost flipped on his side out of the gate. The jockey almost came out of the gate. That was the gate. I'm sorry, the race where Speed King blew most of the field away, but Sandman came running at the end and then went out, past the wire, had a great gallop out, and the trainer said that the Sandman came out of that race fine. So I would keep an eye on him right now. But again, anything can happen. One last thing, Sean, I do want to say this. In Tampa, one of the lookout bets that we had previously that had scratched, which I was disappointed, 2 weeks ago, Nick's Style, if you remember him as a lookout bet, he was 4-1 when we picked him as a lookout bet, but he's running today at Tampa in race 6, the Minaret Stakes, a sprint at 6 furlongs, again being ridden by Junior Alvarado. Super hot down there in Tampa Bay. 4 out of 8, 50%. William Ma, also one of the best, if not better trainers there is. So I'm not sure he's going to be much more than 7-5. That's his morning line. But I'm certainly going to keep an eye on that race because that horse is a horse certainly with a lot of potential. A filly, for four-year-old that could become one of the better sprint filly horses here in the country as time goes on. We'll find out today at 2:44. If he continues, he's 5 for 6, 1 second place finish. So he'll be a fun horse to watch. So keep an eye on that horse as well, Sean.
All right. Anything else we got? Anything else you got to pick on the big Atletico Madrid Real Madrid game today?
What is that, Sean? Is that that's soccer?
Soccer game, yeah, it's a big soccer game today.
Atletico, take your word, Sean.
The Madrid Derby today. I think as we keep going here, you said it's a little bit of a light day for Derby preps, but as you look in the next couple weeks here, February and into March, this pace starts to pick up very quickly, and if you're watching on TVG, they're going from race to race to race, and those really cool days where it's like the Wood and the Arkansas and all these races, and they're bouncing from track to track and big stakes races all the time. We're getting close to that point here.
Oh, absolutely. This is the fun time of the year in preparing for the Derby, looking for the horse you want to follow. It's exciting. And yeah, right. You go back and forth, on TVG from track to track to track. They provide a lot of analysis and insight.
Nope. I think we lost you. All right. We will pause. We will end the show there because we have lost Freddie York. And thanks for watching. And we'll see you next week.